This is how to get started with your AdSense website. First, you need to choose a niche. So you're going to decide what you want to write on, and this will depend on a couple different things. First, if you're going to be writing, you want to be interested in what you're writing about. Otherwise, you'll get pretty bored pretty quickly. And it will take a while to build up your first income for an AdSense website because most likely you'll be getting traffic from a search engine, and that takes time to grow. So, first, consider the cost per click. Are you going to be writing about a subject that has a decent cost per click? And you can think about this by thinking if advertisers would have money to spend on this. If you're writing about jokes or something like that, or personal stories, it's unlikely that you're going to get advertisers who are really wanting to advertise something on a website about jokes. So you'll get advertisers who will advertise, they just won't spend as much money on your website. The next thing is click-through rate. Now you might think, how is that going to be determined by choosing a niche? Well, actually, the way that it's determined is it depends on the audience that you're focusing on. If you're writing about rugs, that might have a decent cost per click simply because the user could be anybody. You're looking at a general person. If you're writing about something to do with servers or like Linux or something very computer specific where people are very computer savvy, they may not click on as many ads. So you just have to keep that in mind. It's just something to think about while you're doing your planning. You don't want to put all this effort into something and then realize later on, oh, no advertisers want to pay for this. So now a quick way that you could actually see whether advertisers are spending money: open up a magazine, look at what things are being advertised, see what people are already spending money on. You can always see people spending money on, real estate. You can always see people spending money on things like perfume, clothing. You can get an idea just by looking to see what people already spend, are spending a lot of money on. Now, you also want to match it with your interest level. So for the interest level, who is going to be writing it? I recommend that you write it starting out, unless you have more money than time, in which case you can just hire somebody using Odesk. But let's assume that you are going to write it. So I'm going to take you through me going through this process for a brand new website so that you can see exactly how I would do it step by step. So for choosing a niche, I decided, because I'm doing this AdSense website, I can just do an AdSense website and teach people how to basically do the AdSense, and it's basically a supplement to this course for you. So what I chose is, I already chose a domain, but I'm just going to show you how I would go through that. First, you just go to GoDaddy.com and you would try to find a domain name. So maybe here, as an example, I would choose AdSense Udemy. This might be a little too specific. It'll definitely be available. So it says your domain is available. Then all you need to do is purchase, select, and you'll just continue to cart and purchase this. Now that might be a little too specific. Actually, the domain name that I chose was AdSense 100K, and it says AdSense 100K is already taken. That's actually because I already purchased it, and you can see that it will show you other options though. So if somebody has the website that you already searched for, you can look for other options. It is if you just specifically typed in AdSense or it's something very simple, it's very difficult to find that website, because the more specific that you get, the more likely somebody has already purchased it. So it's less likely that you'll be able to get it. So those are just a couple things on choosing a domain. Next, you need to choose your hosting package. I prefer to match my hosting with my domain. I found that it was easier So what I would do is purchase this, and you might want to just purchase hosting at the same time. You can look at a few different types. What I've started doing is switching over to a managed WordPress. That's what this is. It's just the easiest thing to do. If you don't have any experience, I would recommend that you choose this one. If you're just starting out, it's $5.99 US dollars per month. And there actually are other types of hosting. So you can look at web hosting here, $6.99 a month, and it's still only one website. Again, I find it easier to use the other one, and I know how to use both types, so I just recommend you go with the managed WordPress hosting. Then once you basically have it activated, and actually one more thing I'll just add to this is I've been calling WordPress customer service quite a bit, and they have good customer service. So if you're getting started and you're having trouble setting it up, just call them and ask them, how do I get to basically to the next step. Set up your website, your theme. So once your WordPress is set up on your hosting, then you need to choose a theme. I recommend you choose a free theme. So this is AdSense100K.com, and you can see here that this is just the generic website. Nothing's been done to it. So you need to log in, and the way that you'll do that is you'll be given a login page to go to, and you just need to go to that address that they give you. Okay, and then once you get in, the first thing that you're going to do is choose a theme. This is something that is going to make your website look different from other people's. You can use a purchase theme, or you can use your own theme. It just depends on, and by your own theme I mean a free theme. It just depends on how much money you want to spend getting started. If you click Add New, you can actually look to just see a whole bunch of free themes, which is pretty great. I mean, this is a very easy way to choose what kind of thing you want. You can filter them by popular. You're basically looking to see one that looks good and that's going to fit the look of your site. This one looks interesting to me, human, and I'm going to install it. So you just click install, and then once you install it, you need to activate it. Installing it just means that it's on your WordPress platform. It doesn't mean it's installed. So you activate it, and sometimes it will recommend different plugins. This one does. So I'm going to install all the plugins that they recommend for this. Plugins are basically they're additions of codes that go onto your website. They're little extras. They give you different functions that aren't built into the theme. So Contact Form 7 is something that allows you to put contacts on, like a contact form onto your website, and it just basically does it very easily. So let's have a look at what the website looks like now. Here it is. So you can see it's changed its look. It looks a little bit nicer. And then you need to set up your website. So I go to Settings, go to General, and you want to change the title. I'm going to change title to AdSense 100K, and AdSense website teaching how to make 100K on through AdSense. Okay, and I'm just going to set my time zone. This can be the reason that you set your time zone is if you are scheduling a post, one of the features is that you can schedule a post for the next day, and you schedule it for 4 p.m. if that's when you want it to go in. If you have the wrong time zone, then it won't schedule on the correct time. So save changes. Next, go to permalinks, And I changed this to category and post name. There we go. I always change it to this. This means that if it just, I think it's better whenever you do this. The category would be something like, if I was writing about click-through rate, let's say I might have the category as click-through rate, and it would have everything about click-through rate, and then the post name would be how to increase your click-through rate by 10%. So this is just a more clear structure for it. That's what I always use. Save those changes. One thing that I use as well is, let's go into installed plugins and have a look here. This is where we added these plugins. I don't use GoDaddy Quick Setup, and we're going to activate these. These are the ones that we just installed a few minutes ago. Activate. So you have to install them, then activate it. It's the same for everything. One more new thing that I want is Jetpack. So I'm just going to install this one. I'll just go over what this is in a moment. So you can search all different kinds of plugins. There's a wide variety of plugins. And this will take you to Jetpack. So Jetpack is, it's a setup basically that allows you to add a whole bunch of different functionality on your site without installing a whole ton of different plugins to do it. Some interesting ones: publicize. You can share new posts on social media networks automatically. This means that if you were to post on your website, it could share it on your Facebook page, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, so it automatically does it, and it makes things a little bit easier. There's a wide variety of different things here, subscriptions, so we're going to go over these a little more in a